Hey there everyone, welcome to GameVine, and my name is David, and
Chris,
and
Trevor,
and we are here to review another social deduction game called Good Cop, Bad Cop. Now this one is in the same vein as a kind of a one-night werewolf or resistance, but in this one you don't just get one identity, you get three. Which you are the majority of your identity with a few exceptions, which I'll get into a little later in this game. But the theme of this game is there are crooked cops. And there are good cops, and they are fighting for their side to win. And you are actually going to be on a team in this social deduction game. It's very simple, very fast to play. This box here is for the expansion, bombers and traders, but we'll get into that later. I put them all in this box because this one is much better. I'm showing a picture of the prior box, which is really bad. I don't like the top open box, so they did a good design with this one. So without further ado, let's show you what comes in this box, and then we'll show you how to play. Let's go. Alright, so in the game of Good Cop, Bad Cop, you just get cards. In the prior game, they are a bit different. In the expansion, they actually go a little more elaborate. But the ones that you have here, these are the identity cards. You have a whole bunch of honest cards. They're going to have the same cop on them. And then you have crooked cops. They have different numbers on them. This means you got to pull these out in this player count of a game. So in a 5 plus, you would use this. Anything under, you would take it out, and it goes all the way up to 8. You have two special cards in the back here. Thank you, Chris, for setting that up nicely for me. The agent and the kingpin. Now, these are the objective. The opposing team, for the bad guys, wants to kill the agent, and vice versa for the good guys. We'll go over that a little later. The other cards that we have here are the equipment cards. I have sleeved them, but these are really self-explanatory. The art's okay on them. They serve a purpose, and they basically, I like when cards tell you exactly what you need to do. Sometimes there are a few things that go unsaid that we had to fact, but we'll get into that a little later. You have the gun cards. Again, they have numbers on them for the amount of players in the game. These wound cards are going to come into play when you're actually shooting the kingpin and or the agent, so we'll get into that later. And then you have a synopsis for players to read if they need, you know, a briefing on the game. You can give that to each player. And this card right here, basically the current player will have this, and it will tell them what exactly they can do. So I like that. This is the lead investigator. So those are all the components. Now let's get into how to play it. So you're going to start by giving everyone a setup card here, and then you're going to be giving out 3 identity cards or integrity cards. Now you want to have 2 different decks. The first one is, well, it's going to consist of just 1 honest, 1 agent, 1 kingpin, and 1 crooked, and you're going to be giving that one out last. The other one you're going to pull out everything that we're set up for a 4-player game that doesn't match your number, and you will shuffle them up and hand out 2 of those to each player. After you've done the 2 identities to each player, then you'll take that second deck that has the leaders in it and 1 crooked and honest, and shuffle it up and give 1 to each player. Now you have your 3 integrity cards, and you'll put them out in front of you like this. You will not move them unless a card says to do so. Then you'll give out 1 equipment card to each player, and that's what you do to set up the game. Now let's show you how to play. Alright, so you pass out cards like this because you don't want one player to get the kingpin and the agent, because the aim of the game is the good cops want to kill the kingpin and or the bad cops want to kill the agent. And to do so, you have to take a gun and shoot them twice. Now, if you shoot anybody else that isn't an agent or a kingpin, they only have 1 health point. So keep that in mind while I'm describing this game. We're going to find out what cop, or if he's crooked or if he's bad on my side. Now this guy is extremely crooked. Now if you had 1 honest and 2 crookeds, you would still be crooked, and vice versa when it comes to honest cops. So this player here is rooting for the kingpin, and he's going to do his best to try to protect him. So you start with the lead investigator with this card in front of him. This is how the turns break down. You can do 1 of these things. You can investigate, view 1 of the face down integrity cards from any player, and that you just basically pick and see what they have. Now this doesn't really give us enough information to say that this guy right here is an honest cop. The one thing I do want to mention is if you are the kingpin and or the agent, it doesn't matter what the other cards are. You are a good or a bad cop because they trump. So if you're a kingpin, you're a bad cop, and even if you have 2 honest, and if you're an agent, you're a good cop. So that's the first action you can take is investigate. Equip. This is where you will try to get more equipment cards. Now you can only have one equipment card in your hand, so if you want to equip, you would want to play this and then equip after. But when you equip a card, it says you have to take one of your integrity cards and flip it face up. Now again, if you only have one up, this doesn't give too much information on what you really are, because you could have two honest ones right here, and that might be your strategy to say, okay, well, Kingpin, look, I am crooked, don't shoot me. Now the next thing that you can do is arm. You can take a gun and put it in front of you, and you again have to take one of your integrity cards and flip it face up. Now they know that I'm a crooked cop, unless this is the agent. I could really be throwing people off. But the second action when you have a gun is to aim it at somebody. So you always will aim it at somebody, and you're going to be shooting them. When you shoot somebody that's just a regular cop, they will die because they only have one health point. But if you shoot somebody that is actually the agent or the Kingpin, like the Kingpin here, he will take 1 damage. That's why these wound cards are in here, and he will put it in front of them. They have essentially 2 hit points. So somebody else would have to get a gun and shoot them. When you shoot a gun, it goes back into the middle, and you basically are disarmed. That is, again, the fourth option that you can do, and you can only shoot if you have a gun, but you don't have to. Say if you have a gun in front of you and you've aimed it here, you can instead perform any of these actions: equip, arm. Well, you can't have 2 guns, you can't arm, but you can investigate. Instead of shooting, if you've gotten more information and say, okay, well, I do think that you're good, you can get an equipment card and put it in front of you, say he doesn't have one, and then re-aim, because as you can see, take aim is a second kind of base action. It's not going to always happen, but you can also shoot and not have a gun, or you can take an equipment card and re-aim. So that's something you want to keep in mind. So those are all 4 of the main actions that you can do, and the secondary action. The one thing that you want to keep in mind, if all your identities are face up and you have to turn over an integrity card to either arm yourself or get an equipment card, you don't have to do that anymore. You're outright there, and people know who you are. But if they shoot just this crooked cop, he is eliminated from the game and can no longer participate and has to discard his equipment cards. You'll continue to do this process until one of either the Kingpin or the agent is dead, and if you get some of the lackeys knocked out, that's going to help the cause for the opposing team. You can also play equipment cards. They say exactly when you can play them on people. It's either going to be on your turn or another person's turn. They're very self-explanatory, but that's what you'll continue to do until one team has won. This game is going to get repeated plays on the night when you first play this, because it's so fast, so simple, and it's one of those type of games. So with all that being said, let me show you some of the equipment cards so you can get more of a flavor of the game. So I have the K9 unit here. Choose a player. If they are holding a gun, they drop it. If it is currently the player's turn, they cannot pick up a gun this turn. So they really do kind of warp the game. This one here, smoke grenade, this turn order is reversed at the end of the current player's turn, so you can take 2 turns. If you play this like on this player here and this is you, his turn ends, it will reverse back to you, and that can be crucial. The coffee here, after this current turn ends, you get another turn immediately. Basically, evidence bag, choose a player and take that player's equipment card. So you can steal equipment cards. Again, you can only have 1 in your hand at all times. True serum, calls a player. That player choose a player. That player chooses one of their face down integrity cards and turns it face up. So it has stuff like that. Choose a player, view all their integrity cards, and then show your integrity cards. So they know exactly who you are, and I mean, you know what they are. So it might be a good thing or not. Flashbang, shuffle all the integrity cards, look at them, and place them face down on the table. So again, like I said, you can never move your integrity cards, and that's important because people are going to be investigating them, but this can allow you to do so, and that's a pretty good card. There's a taser, there's blackmail, there's metal detector, there's plant evidence, and this one here, report audit. Each player who has no face-up integrity cards must choose 1 integrity card and turn it face up. Investigate any 2 players. So it's basically doing stuff like that. There is one in here that allows you to steal the identity, and like I said before, there's facts that we had to look up because that kind of broke the game. That is Good Cop, Bad Cop in its entirety. Now let's tell you what we think of this game and give it a grade. Okay, so that was Good Cop, Bad Cop, and as we always do, we're going to be giving this game a grade. Well, at least I am. I'm going to be giving it a percentage or a letter grade, and I settled on an 81, which is a B-. This is a good deduction game. It actually surprised me. I went in with some skepticism because I really like games like One Night and or The Resistance, and this one was a little lower produced, but don't let that lead you astray because this is quite a punch in a small package. I mean, the fact that you can have 3 identity cards really brought me in because in the other games that I named prior, you only have 1, but in this one, you can manipulate a little bit too with the equipment cards, and that just really shined through for me. So with the lower production, though, as you can see, you have a little foresight into what you're going to be seeing with the expansion. They've done better, but the one that has just the honest cops with the same face, it was kind of underwhelming, but the game shined through for me. I really liked it. The thing that I will say that it can be broken because we've experienced things
happened to me.
where you can, there's an equipment card where you can steal an identity. So when you steal the Kingpin and you're the agent, what happens there? There wasn't really a fact to show us. There is another thing that we had to look into. Again, it's a pattern. The rules are spelled out okay, but you are going to have to go online. It was the thing that brought people back to life. You actually, we were wondering if you could bring back the Kingpin or the agent, but no, you cannot. Once the agent or Kingpin dies, the game is over. So you can bring back some of the lackeys. So there are some things that kind of wasn't explained, and the production was a little lower, but 81 is a higher grade for me. So that kind of explains to what I feel about it. So who wants to go first? You want to be the good cop or the bad cop? Or is there a good cop? Do you all like it?
Time for the good cop. You can go for the good cop.
All right, go.
I'll be the good cop. I liked it. My grade's 1 through 10. I'm going with 7.
Okay, 7. A little lower than what I did.
Yeah, well, it's a good game. I do like it. It's not quite up there with One Night Werewolf, but it's in that same.
This is your type of game,
yes,
so I mean,
absolutely.
if you like it, it's a high praise from you, regardless. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I just like the fact that you are trying to figure out who's on your team and who's not on your team.
Yeah, the team aspect is cool.
Yeah,
I like that as well.
It kind of sucks that you don't know, so you could take somebody out that you didn't mean to.
Right. Yeah. That happens to other games too, like Bang or something like that. But.
But yeah, it's definitely up there. I like the way it plays. It plays really easy.
What about the arts?
Everything. The art's not. Yeah, the art's not bad.
Oh yeah.
I think it could be a little bit better, but it's
very
not,
simple.
It's not horrible. Yeah, very simple.
This is one of their first games, so we'll cut them a little bit of slack. So you gave them a 7 out of 10.
7. Yep, I'm good. I like it.
You?
Bad cop.
I hate this stupid game. I'm tired of this dumb game. I hate it. No, I give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's not a game I'm chomping at the bit to play.
Sure.
But I don't hate it. I enjoy it when we play it. I can think of other games where it's like identity-based games that I would much rather play than this. There are some downfalls because I mean technically you can be eliminated from the game, and I know we have talked about that being an issue. Like if you're not the Kingpin or the agent,
how long?
and somebody decides to kill you, you're done.
Right.
Sure.
Unless you bring somebody back to life.
Yeah,
like
it
you
says
said with
10 to
people
20
in the
minutes. 20 minutes is a
Yeah,
long
I
game
mean,
for elimination.
Yeah, it's not like you're out of an hour-long game or something.
Right.
But still, I'm not a huge fan of elimination unless it's a purely strategy, based game. Unless you're like you're playing a Risk or something like that.
That you're
knocked
involved
out.
for a while.
Yeah, that's
Fair enough.
that's your own fault. But this is a more just kind of fun party game in my opinion, and I just don't like the idea of taking somebody out of a social party game, but
Totally valid.
but still not a horrible game. It didn't get the dreaded 5 that I gave. But wait, there's more. But
That's my favorite
I'm
game.
gonna flash that picture of your face.
Yeah, every time I say, anytime we even make a tiny reference, I'm gonna have that stupid thing plastered on my face. But
Wait, there's more.
but yeah, it's a fun little game. I can think of other games similar to this that are a lot more fun for me.
So you're
like
right,
Shadow
okay.
Hunters, like that's kind of similar.
Oh, yeah?
You have that hidden identity, and you also technically
There's a
have
elimination, too.
Well, and you have hidden teams.
Sure.
I like that game a lot more than this. So I guess for this genre,
It's condensed down though, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not as complex, but for this genre, the fact that this isn't one of the ones, it's not even in my top 5 or top 10 of this genre. I'm not going to give it a high grade, but it's a 6 out of 10. It's not horrible.
Okay.
It's a fun, entertaining game.
All right. That's all we can really say about this game. Hope you liked it. Hope it was informational, so you can see if you want to go out and buy this game, and if it's a 6, or if it's an 8, or if it's a 7. Until the next time that we see you, I've been Dave.
I'm Chris?
Trevor.
Have a great rest of your day and a great time with all that you play. We're out.
Bing bang boom. Bing bang boom.
Bing,
Bing bang
Bling,
boom.
blang, blang.
Bing bang boom.
You guys
Bing bang boom.
Okay, we're done. We're done.